Typically, when a criminal is found guilty, especially a criminal guilty of something as un-American as deceiving the fine men and women of our federal law enforcement, quite often the right wing's champions of law and order applaud loudly at the wisdom of the jury, the tenacity of the prosecutor from Ken Starr to Rudy Giuliani. But in our fourth story on the countdown, the case of convicted criminal Louis Libby, has it caused the party to go soft on crime? Fox News felt it was more important for its viewers to understand clearly Louis Scooter Libby not convicted on one count. Hey everybody, he got off. The TV banner reading, Scooter Libby found not guilty of lying to FBI investigators. True in its way, and Mrs. Lincoln was enjoying that play. Okay, when it came time for legal analysis, Fox decided to pose the question in this banner reading, was there even a crime? Then there were those who came right out and tried to say Libby was kind of guilty, like kind of pregnant.
He really didn't seriously impede the investigation. He's been a loyal and effective member of this administration. There's every reason to pardon him.
Rush Limbaugh declaring that this crime helps Republicans and that when Democrats take a hard line against crime, it energizes the Republican base.
This has the chance to do more for the Republican Party than anything else in the short run. And the more the Democrats gloat and the more they politicize this and the more they lie about what this case and this trial was about, the angrier they are going to make Republicans and conservatives in this country.
So it was a good crime, I guess? Joining us now with the tough-on-crime news stance of the left is Air America Radio's Sam Seder, whose show airs weekday mornings from 9 to noon Eastern Time. Sam, thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Allison. It's a pleasure.
Help us out with this dilemma. When the right's two most influential outlets, Rush Limbaugh and Fox News, are defending criminals, slamming prosecutors and juries, are they sincerely going soft on crime, or are they trying to make chicken salad out of chicken other things?
Well, I think this is indicative of the conservative movement today. I mean, conservatives can't do anything that's illegal. Anything a conservative does by its very definition, because it's done by a conservative, can't be wrong. So therefore, there was no crime committed here, even though he was convicted of on 4 counts.
But is Rush right in some way? Will this energize the conservative base somehow?
I mean, I have no idea, but if it did, it would be horribly sad, wouldn't it? I mean, they're going to rally around someone who is obstructing an investigation into one of the central reasons why we supposedly invaded and occupy Iraq. I mean, that's pretty sad, although I've seen sadder things from the right wing, frankly.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit. Is the right defending Louis Libby because they like him personally, and hopefully he'll be quiet and remain loyal, not get anybody else in any kind of trouble? Or is it okay to do whatever you have to do, even if it's a crime, if it will help sell the war and, in their opinion, provide safety for the country?
Well, I mean, I think it's somewhere in the middle there. I mean, I think Libby is sort of like a gateway drug for conservatives to truth. And if they accept the fact that Scooter Libby was convicted of these crimes, then they have to ask, well, why did he lie? Who was he protecting? Well, obviously, we saw in the trial that he was protecting Dick Cheney. And then the question becomes, why was Dick Cheney so obsessed with smearing Joe Wilson over these charges that he supposedly thought were real about yellow cake uranium? So I think at the end of the day, it's a question of conservatives. They just don't want to go down that road, because if they come to the conclusion that many Americans have, over 50% certainly of the country, that the Bush administration lied us into this war in Iraq.
I just had that Jack Nicholson moment when he's in, is it all good for you good men, or you can't handle the truth kind of moment? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And they just don't want to go down that path. I mean, they're terrified. That's why you see those that Chiron on Fox News, you know, not guilty of 1 of 5 charges. I mean, it's like looking at the cup 1/5 full, I guess, or something.
Now, when President Clinton was in the midst of the Lewinsky scandal, there were some Democrats who said, you know, this is not ethical behavior, he's not honest about it, but there were many who said, you know what, he is still the man as far as we're concerned. Now, do both of these parties have problems admitting the sins of their members, or is there some sort of difference?
Well, I mean, I think you can always find people who are in denial, but I think fundamentally this is not even a question of parties so much as it is about a certain ideology. You know, had Clinton been honest about a sexual liaison he had, there would have been no case whatsoever. Had Scooter Libby not lied to federal investigators and not obstructed justice, you may see Dick Cheney sitting in a courtroom right now.
Well, as much as the Fox banner that you talked about a little bit was surprising, we'll say, deciding Libby not guilty was the lead because he got off on 1 of 5 charges. Do they just know their audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I mean, I think the right wing, and particularly Limbaugh in particular, what it is for them is just edifying the delusion of their audience. I mean, it's almost as if it's like some type of deranged theme park where, you know, it's candy-covered mountains and marshmallow skies, and up is down and down is up, and there's never a time where a conservative does anything wrong, and this basically makes people feel comfortable if they come from that perspective.
All right, and we should make sure people know that's Mara Eliason from NPR, and that clip that we're showing is not just all Fox folks. Hey, Sam Seder of Air America, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.